Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Ali Moreno, Paul Mara, Shaka Hislop. We also welcome Raf Honigstein to the show. 7 days to go until the World Cup, but we start with a story which may see you once again bang your head against the wall because, according to the front page of Record, the big Portuguese sports newspaper, ready for this, everyone? Cristiano Ronaldo wants to leave Real Madrid. Now, there may be a sense of deja vu because you take it back to last year. The front page of Bola, another Portuguese newspaper, said, oh, look, Ronaldo wants to leave Spain. We have certainly been here before, Rafa Honigstein. However, this time, is there a sense that maybe, just maybe, there is something in this story?
Look, I think what is real is that Ronaldo is not happy. Ronaldo, I think, doesn't feel valued. You know, you can laugh about this, you can think it's a bit childish, but I think there's a genuine sense of him being slightly frustrated with the lack of commitment that he feels Real Madrid have shown him, both when it comes to signing a new contract or offering a new contract, and of course his remuneration, which is significantly lower than some of the biggest paid players elsewhere, namely at Barcelona and PSG. So I think that is the bottom line here. And of course there's a tax issue as well. So Ronaldo's not happy. What do Real Madrid do about this? I think the reason why the story doesn't go away is because Real Madrid so far have just said, we'll ride this out. We don't see any reason to offer more money. We don't see any reason to extend the contract till all the way into his mid-30s. And we keep hearing the story, especially coming from Ronaldo's camp, that he's unhappy, but Real Madrid are playing hardball, and I think they've got the better cards in their hand at the moment.
Take a look at it, and Neymar and Messi, since Ronaldo put pen to paper on a new contract at Real Madrid, have increased their salary. And Ronaldo's looking at that and thinking, well, certainly I deserve a raise as well. Would you give him one if you're Real Madrid?
No, I wouldn't. I have to make this decision based upon what I think Ronaldo's going to be. Not now, but going to be 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Am I hanging on to Cristiano Ronaldo and thinking that he's going to be that productive? I just don't see it from a Real Madrid perspective. The contract is in place. So you have, if you're Real Madrid, as Rafa was alluding to, you have the cards in hand where you say, look, this is where you are. This is where we are. We're not going anywhere. And to be honest, we don't think that you're going anywhere either, because after you have threatened to do this time and time again, at some point Real Madrid sit back and say, we don't believe you. We don't believe you. If you want to leave, all right, sort it out. Let's see if you can figure it out. Otherwise, we'll see you next preseason, and we'll see you with Real Madrid next year.
Is this the boy who cried wolf?
Yeah, without question. And to Ali's point, I think Real Madrid hold the cards here. Cristiano Ronaldo is sitting on a contract, a rather large one. If he wants to leave, I'm not sure how many clubs there are in the world who pay what Real Madrid want in terms of a transfer fee and can probably demand, and then match Ronaldo's wages or gives him what he's looking for. So if you're Florentino Perez, at this point, you're calling his bluff.
I think the lads have said it all. I think that Perez has called Ronaldo's bluff. I think he's the hot air that's come out of Ronaldo, and Perez is sticking his ground. Says, just as the boy said, you're under contract, mate.
Raf, the big question when I look at this is, why does it play out in the media? Why can't this just be kept private? What has Ronaldo got to gain by going public with this and making these sort of hidden statements when he knows basically it's all down to Florentino Perez? Why can't he meet him privately, agents all together, and get this sorted outside of the newspaper headlines?
I think you almost have to turn this question on the head and say the fact that it's happening publicly is a reflection of the lack of progress.
Right.
The fact that nothing is really going on behind the scenes forces the interested party, namely Ronaldo, to keep this going. I mean, he used the Champions League final to make this point. And don't forget, I mean, Real Madrid, yes, is Florentino Perez, but Real Madrid is not owned by Florentino Perez. He has to stand for re-election. He is effectively controlled by the socios, by the members, and public pressure counts for more than at places where there's an owner, an Abramovich or John W. Henry, and no one can do anything about it. So at these clubs, a little bit like Bayern, a little bit like Barcelona, things are more public by nature because of the democratic setup of these clubs. But is it effective? Is it actually working? I'm not so sure. We saw some of Madrid papers saying, Ronaldo, please stay, but it doesn't seem to have swayed Florentino Perez so far.
In a word then, Raf, is he at Real Madrid at the start of next season?
I'd be very surprised if he wasn't.
Michael Ballack not impressed with the exclusion of Sané from the German squad. He had this to say: I can't really see any sporting reasons behind, just not on Sané's level. He's talking about Brandt being in this squad. Sané plays for a bigger club, plays alongside better players. Raf, what do you make of this?
Well, I sympathise with that view to a certain extent. I would have taken him if I was the national manager. I think Sané's skills are so unique that it'd be a bit of a miss to leave him out. But Löw, I think, sees a bigger picture. Löw sees someone who doesn't feature in his starting 11. I think he has made up his mind that Müller and Royce will play in the right positions, and he might not even be the first substitute to come in. And I think he feels, maybe based on some of the experience he's had with Sané in the past, and Sané not going to the Confederations Cup when he had the opportunity last year, that perhaps Sané would not be happy sitting on that bench, and that perhaps he's the kind of player that you better leave at home rather than taking as a fourth or fifth choice. As I said, from an outside looking in, very hard to understand, but you have to trust Löw and his experience to understand that he sees beyond the individual talent and looks at the team and looks at the squad on the pitch, but also off it.
How's the German media reacted to this, Raf?
The German media hasn't really been nearly as shocked or as outraged as some of the Anglo-Saxon media for two reasons. A, they don't follow the Premier League as closely. Yes, they picked up on Sané having a great season, but they've mostly seen Sané being a bit of a bit player for Germany. 12 appearances, no goals, and very few convincing performances. And before that, moving from Schalke, and people are saying, well, Schalke was very inconsistent as well. So they haven't really seen the Sané that Manchester City fans or avid viewers of the Premier League have seen. And again, they trust Löw now after his sixth, this is his sixth tournament in charge. They trust him enough, I think, to feel that he knows what he's doing.
It's incredible trust when you think about it, Paul, considering how key Sané was to Manchester City's success this season.
I was absolutely staggered when he was left out of the squad. I think he's one of the top 2 or 3 players in the world, young players. He's absolutely sensitive. He's a game changer. He's got incredible pace. He's got fantastic speed on the dribble. He sees a pass. He can pick the forwards out. To me, he's a young player. Take him to the tournament, let him glean some experience, get in his ear, say, look, this is what we need from you. Yes, you're a fantastic player. You're going to be a fantastic player for Germany.
But what if he's a problem? This seems to be...
But you also need to... Joachim Löw needs to get into his ear and say, look, this is how you need to conduct yourself if you're going to be successful around this team. Just educate him a little bit. He's a young kid. If he's going off the rails, if Joachim Löw thinks he's going off the rails, then you've got to rein him back in. That's part of your job.
But don't you... Why roll the dice when you don't need to? This German squad is stacked enough, isn't it?
Well, but I think if you're looking for reasons to leave Leroy Sané out, and I think this is what was happening here, then you hang on to the, well, he didn't go to Confederations Cup, he went to have surgery in his nose, instead of participating in a tournament that would have put him in a position where maybe he would have showcased and would have shown what he could have been in coming into the World Cup. The truth is that it feels that personally, Jogi Löw does not care for Leroy Sané. We're not talking about the coach caring for the player and what he's going to do for me on the field. I think there is a personal situation there where Jogi Löw doesn't appreciate what Sané does on and off the field. And if that's the case, then he hangs on to that idea and say, well, he didn't go to Confederations Cup. And as a player, you should be smart enough to understand that if you know you have a feel with a coach and with a manager, if you feel that that manager perhaps doesn't prefer you as a player, then you don't give him reasons to leave you out. You give him reasons to put you in. So if there's a Confederations Cup to attend and you know that's going to be an important tournament, then you attend it and you postpone your surgery. This is, to me, if this is why he's being left out, part of it is on Jogi Löw, but certainly on Leroy Sané as well.
Raf, when it comes to just sheer quality, it's not even a question, is it? Sané's better than Brandt.
In my view, absolutely. There is a tactical discussion to this. Michael Ballack disagrees. He thinks any system should be good enough for Sané or the other way around. And I kind of share his view. But there is a view that with Germany playing quite a slow game, a controlled game, Sané almost gets too much of the ball in this team and then gets a little bit lost. At Manchester City, they found a way of bringing him into the final third with pace, with space as well. Whereas with Germany, they mostly build on the left with Toni Kroos. And for whatever reason, as Joachim Löw was quite candid, said it hasn't really quite clicked for him. And I think the sense is that Löw doesn't want to change the system enough to accommodate Sané, and maybe Sané is not quite able to change his game to accommodate Löw's system. And in any case, he feels it's a headache that he doesn't need. I can only repeat, I think it would have been worth it, but I don't see the training, I don't see the vibe in the dressing room, and I don't kind of get the sense of harmony and togetherness above everything else that Löw is so clear on, and it's based on his experience in the past. Euro 2012, he had a lot of players who were unhappy when they didn't play, and I think that is the back of his mind, that he wants players who are happy when they play and when they don't play, and thinks Sané being young and ambitious doesn't quite fit the bill at the moment.
Let's just remind you, shall we, of Germany's group. They're big favourites to advance. They're drawn with Mexico, Sweden and South Korea. It's time then for Mariners Match Predictor. As always, let's start with the group stages. Top 2 going through. No real surprises here. Denmark over Peru, you got in Group C, Paul.
No surprises.
Argentina, Croatia advancing in Group D. Let's take it to Group E, shall we? Brazil, Serbia, Mexico, you got going through ahead of Sweden.
That's what I'm not quite sure about. But
England, Belgium, Colombia, Poland, Senegal, who Xhaka's got winning the whole thing, I believe.
Exactly.
Not making it through the group stage according to yourselves. All right then. Let's take it to the knockout stages, shall we? This is where it gets interesting. Spain against Egypt.
No contest, Dan. Spain.
Argentina, Denmark.
Argentina, through.
Meanwhile, the defending champions against Serbia.
Difficult game, no problem whatsoever.
Not that difficult then. Colombia against Belgium.
This is a difficult one.
Yeah?
I'm going to go with Colombia.
Oh, you almost went Belgium.
I did. I almost
did. Let's take it to the other side then of the bracket. Uruguay, Portugal.
I'm going with Uruguay.
Ronaldo done.
Yep.
France, Croatia.
No contest. France.
Right.
Unbelievable.
It seems easy. Brazil, Mexico.
Again. Too easy for Brazil.
England, Poland.
Now then, you have to guess what I'm going to go for.
There you go, the 3 Lions advancing into the next round. There you go, good. Okay, let's take it then to the semi-finals. Who's going to go through, Uruguay or France?
France.
Now, Mr. Mariner, where's your loyalty?
Well, I want to do it right, so Brazil going through.
Okay, so Brazil and France in one semi-final. What about the lineup of the other? Will it be Argentina or Spain?
Even with Messi, I don't think he's got enough support. I'm going to go with Spain.
Germany, Colombia.
And Germany go through.
Wow, okay then. Let's take it through to those 2 semi-finals. France, Brazil.
I've got France winning it all, so I'm going
Really?
with... Yep.
Yep, okay. So to win it all, they have to win the semi-final?
Yes.
Right, good to know.
And they're going to play Spain.
France-Spain final.
Yes.
With?
What do you mean?
Who's going to win it?
I've got France winning it all.
All right, then press the button.
Yes.
Make it yellow. There it is. Mariner says that it'll be France lifting the World Cup. Just a reminder, we are with you 7 days a week throughout the tournament. Join us on tomorrow's show. Burley's back. Welcome to the show, Hercules Gomez.
Thank you.
I feel I'm just going to leave this to you, really.
Wow.
What's been going on in Mexico?
Wow. What hasn't been going on with LJ?
Yes, what's happening here?
Wait a minute.
I see escorts and VIP, and now I'm being quiet.
Wow. There was an after-hours party incident after the game versus Scotland in Mexico City where 9 of the players for the Mexican national team were photographed paparazzi style at late hours or early hours of the morning with about 30 women at their side.
Good ratio.
A few of these players happen to be married. There are... Obviously, people are upset.
Are married or were married?
That's a good question.
Right.
and we'll get into that soon. Hector Herrera actually had to leave the camp that they're in Denmark right now to go tend to personal matters.
Right.
They would not disclose what, but one could only assume. This is a strange situation because it's not the first time that this has happened with the Mexican national team. This is probably the 4th time this has happened, or something like this has happened. The federation...
That we know of.
Yes, correct. Very, very
This is right before the World Cup, though.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And this happened a while back with Carlos Vela and Efrain Juarez, who plays for Vancouver. And they were reprimanded. They were both suspended and fined. 6-month suspension, a fine, and Carlos Vela said, that's it, I'm out of here, I'm not playing anymore. Why am I the only one getting...
So is anyone going to be suspended this time around?
That's the thing. The federation said there was no breach of the code of conduct. They were... of their own free will. They didn't have to be at the hotel the next day. What they do on their own time is their own business. Nothing happened. This has to do everything with that the World Cup is right around the corner.
Sure. Now, if this happened in England, the fans would go absolutely crazy about all of this. How was the supporters reacting in Mexico?
It was pretty split. You had
Do
your
they
fans,
want suspensions?
Well, I think fans are pretty conscious at this level with all the injuries you have going on. You can't go on and suspend 9 players, 9 arguable starters.
Right.
So fans are pretty conscious about that. So there's a big fan base that's completely distraught with what's going on. The other fan base, it doesn't matter. It's in their own free time as long as they're good on the field. The problem is with this El Tri team on the field, they've been so Jekyll and Hyde. You don't really know if it'll affect these players on the field. We've already seen the situation with Hector Herrera. You can only imagine what's going through his head. It is a very strange situation at this moment.
How is it being received? Is it the big news story as well as the sports news? Is everybody talking about this in Mexico?
The memes, the jokes, the news, early morning to late night, they all seem to be surrounding this event. I think what gets most people going is the lack of professionalism that these players have not only shown in this situation, but in situations past.
Will it affect what goes out and what happens on the pitch, do you think?
I don't think it'll affect at all what happens versus Germany.
Right.
No. Obviously, as a footballer, there are times where it's very difficult to leave your personal life outside the parameters of the football pitch. That is to each and every single player their own makeup, how they are mentally, how they deal with things. But one could only imagine if this home situation is not good, it's going to trickle down into your work life.
Paul, let's take it back to 1982, shall we? The World Cup. If this happened just before, in the England camp...
Which it almost did.
Well, we don't need to know too many details. Hello. Would it affect the performance on the pitch?
Well, you'd have to raise your levels because, as you say, Dan, if this happened in England, you would be hung, drawn and quartered.
Yeah.
I mean, the newspapers would just destroy you. And you'd have to repay the public and the whole nation by putting a performance in, simple as that.
Trinidad and Tobago, 2006.
Well, that kind of thing would never happen. I'm going to say that right now. But should it happen to some other team, I don't think these things affect performances. And oftentimes, when you have incidents like this, your best escape is on the football field.
Right.
The best way to get away. And as soon as they step off that pitch, then all of a sudden you have to deal with the fans and you have to deal with the families and you have to deal with the fallout.
Yep.
So in terms of performances, I don't see that as an issue.
Did Venezuela ever made it to a World Cup, Ali?
Well, hey, I see what you did.
No, we know why. No, we know why they haven't.
That's not the reason. There are other reasons. That's not the reason. I would say that it may affect the performance on the field if there is more to the story than what we know. If it was only 9 players that were at this party, then so be it. But if there were more players in that party and those players were not photographed and were not mentioned as being part of this, then the 9 players are going to be like, wait a minute.
And Alejandro, that's absolutely the case. Right now, there are strong rumors going around that there were more than those actual 9 players who were photographed and that the paparazzi only decided to release certain pictures. Now, these are all rumors. But like you said, these are things that within a team environment can affect the group.
Well, yeah, because otherwise, okay, you would think, okay, maybe the team comes together because of this. But if coming together means that there are some guys that were somehow left out of these 9 players that were photographed, now we're no longer together. There are people over here protecting themselves, and there are people over there that are taking the blame. That separates a group.
Of course, former England international, scored in a World Cup, Paul Mariner. You're poo-pooing their performance throughout.
Well, the manager's made 10 changes. So he's given people a chance to show what they can do. For me, there's only one player that really shone today. That was Rashford. There was 1 or 2 players later on when all the changes came in, did okay. But for me...
But they dominated. They kept a clean sheet.
But it was... Look, are you trying to tell me that that was a real competition, that Costa Rica side? I mean, they were dreadful today, Costa Rica. They didn't offer anything. I just feel that if I was one of those 10 changes, I want to be giving it my absolute all. And I didn't think they gave it their all. It's as simple as that. As I say, Rashford was the only one for me that is knocking on Southgate's door.
So they beat a Costa Rica side that Xhaka's got going through to the semi-final.
Well, very well done. That's what I think of Xhaka's selection.
I've got about 12 teams in the semi-finals at this count.
You've got them getting out of the group with Brazil and Switzerland. This is a good result for England, isn't it?
It is.
Is this just negativity from the
Yes, it
Old
is.
English.
And we've spent more than enough time with Paul to understand that he doesn't see the brighter side of many England performances. But this is a good...
You're saying that is a good performance?
I'm saying it was a good performance and a good result.
Who played well?
But unsurprising.
Who played well?
Rashford played well.
Right, I said that.
I think there were a number of decent performances. But here's my thing with England. At this stage, going into major tournaments, this is exactly what you get from England. Tournament in, tournament out. It's when the bright lights go on, when all the marbles are on the table, that I think England come unstuck.
You okay, Paul?
No, I'm not. I'm not okay. Because, look, in any tournament, especially the World Cup, you need some depth. You need to know what your system is. It looks as though he wants to play 3-5-2, right? That's what it looks like, with Kane high and Sterling underneath him. Something along those lines. So knock on the door, knock on the coach's door, say, look, this is what I can do, boss. Get me in. I'm available. I can prove to you that I am capable of playing in this World Cup. And they didn't do it for me. That's what concerns me, that players are not pushing, not smashing the door down to get into this side.
Now, let's say that these players that you're talking about, they are pushing and smashing the door and making their cases. Does that change the reality of England in this tournament? I don't think it does. So you get out of the group, maybe get out of the round of 16, and then that's it. It's game, set, and match, and see you guys later. Thanks for coming. So I understand your larger point, but to be quite honest with you, I don't think it changes what England will be going into this World Cup.
But Ali, what I'm hearing from everybody over in England, all the papers and so on, this is a young squad that's going, not so many caps. So if you're inexperienced, show some fight, show some appetite for the game. Show when you pull that shirt on, absolutely destroy Costa Rica.
But they won 2-0 against a team that Shaka's got through to the final.
But Danny, with 10 changes, yeah, I know, that is a joke. 10 changes, right? So the coach is saying to me as a player, go on, son, get yourself out there.
Oh, right, okay. Raf, you live in England. What is the... What's all the talk going into this tournament regarding Gareth Southgate's side? It seems to me that everyone's being very nice and very pleasant and talking to the press.
Yes, and I think the press reciprocate. I think some of the headlines you're seeing today are a result of a slightly changed and more positive relationship between the media and the fans to a certain extent and this team, that I think people are willing to give them benefit of the doubt. I think they buy into Southgate trying to do things a little bit differently. And if somebody else would have come up with this performance, as you said, a very uninspired one, by and large, against a very poor team, I think we would have seen a lot more negativity. But somehow, I think Southgate has managed to change the environment both in and outside the camp enough for people to say, okay, let's see what they can do. There's enough young players that can really play football. Maybe if we let them get on with it and don't put too much pressure on them and even support them a little bit, God forbid, maybe they can perform. And I think you could see that some of the openness that I say German FA, I mean the English FA have tried, with a bit of a hint, I think, from the German FA, because they're modelled a little bit on the openness that the German FA have always shown, has had a positive effect in the reaction and in the headlines that you've shown. What's success, Paul, for England?
Well, obviously get through the group. Then the next round is absolutely key. I've got them winning it. I think if they play Poland, I think that's a good game for England. I think they can beat Poland. And then, as you say, Dan, you're quite right. Then the real big boys come out to play. So I think if they get...
Quarter-finals?
Yeah. It's something to build on for Southgate. If we're going to buy into what he's doing with the squad, it's a young squad, let's give him a chance, let's take the foot off the gas, let's not pummel them all the time like the English press always.
You've just been pummelling them for the last 10 minutes.
I was pummelling the players that were on the field today because I don't think...
Oh, yes!
Because they're backup players, Dan. If you get the opportunity, whether it's any football club, any international team, when you get an opportunity to show what you can do, then show what you can do. Don't go out wishy-washy.
I don't know why you keep pummelling them, that's all.
I think they're going to win the group. Are they going to win their group?
Of course they're going to win the group.
Okay, of course.
Let's just remind you who is in England's group, shall we? England, along with Belgium, very much the favourite. England's finishing top ahead of Belgium.
Of course they're going to get out of the group. Of course they're going to win the group.
So the SPI have got it wrong. England will be top of the group.
Calm down, Paul. Hello, welcome to Extra Time. Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen, 1 week to go until the World Cup starts. What?
I'm ready.
You're not playing.
I'll be in there with the boys.
What boys?
The young men with the 3 lines on their chest.
You'll be inspiring them.
Try to. I'll try to slag them off a
What
bit.
was your number when you played? Did you have a sign? Was it squad
Here's a
number?
trick question for you.
Yeah.
Do you mean in the World Cup, or do you
Yes,
mean...
I mean the World Cup.
Because it was alphabetical.
We're talking about the
That's why
World
I'm
Cup,
asking you the
aren't we?
question. You didn't even know it was alphabetical, did you?
No, I didn't.
In 82. 11. Right?
And otherwise?
9.
There you go.
The only number to work.
Was it alphabetical for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Was it?
Yes, it was, but there's one player got...
No, I meant every team.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I think one
didn't
player
know that.
got his own number. I guess it was Maradona or something like that.
I didn't know that. There you are.
I mean, I'm sure Zico wore number. Didn't he wear number 10 for Brazil?
There was I think one person that had their own number.
Are you sure you know what you're talking about?
Maybe Brazil just had a lot of Z's players. They just picked a whole lot of Z's.
What does that mean?
Raf is here. Raf, do you think Bayern are going to make some moves this summer by selling older players and purchasing younger players?
It's not so much older players, but there are players that are surplus to requirements and are very openly on the market. Juan Bernat wants to leave and Bayern want him to go. I think they were very happy to listen to offers for Arturo Vidal. But the really old guys, of course, are sticking around, and Robin and Ribéry. And there's still a chance, I think, that Thiago might leave. Despite his talent, despite his unbelievable ability, there is a sense, there's a view with the bosses at Bayern that he doesn't really show up enough in the big games. And if a big offer comes in for him, that they'd be quite willing to listen as well.
What number were you, Shaq?
Thank you, Shaq.
Why?
In 2006, you were one. You were number 1 goalkeeper, were you?
Whoa, whoa.
So how long were you number 1? Oh, no, I mean, it's a fair question.
Honestly, I mean, with friends like you.
No, I'm just saying, you were 3rd choice, so why were you...
Is that true, Shaq? You were his 3rd choice?
It reminded me, Dad.
I'm not doing it to stir. It's a...
Well, it sounds like you are.
That's for making me feel so bad. It's a tough week.
What does Trinidad...
Well, just because I was senior. I was an old man and I wouldn't number 1. Like, I'll take 1.
Oh, so your age, you're alphabetical and your age.
Yeah, pretty much.
How old were you?
No, hold on. Russell Latterby's older than me.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
So, ask him if he knows what he's talking about. That's what he always said to me.
Well, no, that's because you're taking us down every team, but with some exceptions.
Exactly. I was trying to educate you on the 82 World Cup alphabetical
It
squad.
might have been specific to England, Paul.
I think it was an England thing.
It was not. Honestly.
I think it was an England thing.
What number were you in the Copa America? I'm guessing double figures.
Well, 15 was always my number, so it was always double.
Why was it 15?
It was the first
Because it's
number
always
handed
at the
to
team.
me by our first coach at school in Venezuela when I was 7 years old.
I was his furthest out goal. One scored from 15 yards, never any further.
You could put a decimal point in between the 1 and 5.
Well, you know.
What is it with you today?
What do you mean?
Well,
He's killing us.
you don't respect the elderly, and then
It made me cry.
and then
Will Guti be a good fit for Real Madrid?
anybody's guess, to be quite honest with you, but the truth is, whoever it is, it feels like a caretaker. That is only going to be a short-term fix for...
No.
What do you mean, no?
Doesn't feel good, does it?
Well, it doesn't feel good to say Guti to Real Madrid as the manager, no. But it'd be a short-term fix. It won't be a long-term decision.
Raf, is Guti going to be the next coach? Raf just wants to go to bed, look at him. I'm stuck in this studio, I'm sweating, it's hot.
It is very hot in here. I mean, Guti is, I think, not the first choice. And I think that's obvious to everyone, including the players. So I think he'll struggle to have the same kind of authority that really was the hallmark of Zidane's reign. I mean, Zidane, I don't think, was a tactical genius, but he had the presence, the authority, the aura to keep these guys in check and let them do what they do. He provided an amazing platform. Can Guti do the same? I'm not so sure, but I think so late in the summer, Real Madrid won't have many big names to choose from. So I agree. I think this is a stopgap solution.
Shaka, as a former goalkeeper, no longer a goalkeeper,
Or a number 1, number 2, number 3 or goalkeeper.
can you clear the air? Who would you start in Russia? Ter Stegen or Neuer?
I think Ter Stegen would start.
Raf, who would
Ooh.
you start as a German?
Doesn't matter who I will start. Joachim Löw has made up his mind that Neuer is fit enough and he'll be the number 1.
Wow.
And of course he'll start. I mean, unless he concedes 3 goals against Saudi Arabia on Friday night, and 3 of them are calamitous mistakes. There's just no way that Neuer will go to the World Cup and not start. So the decision has already been made. Only if something really dramatic happens will Ter Stegen be the number 1.
Considering Liverpool's goalkeepers' problems, would you suggest they sign... Who would you suggest, sorry, for next season, Shaq?
Alisson.
Alisson? He can go somewhere better, though, could he?
How much would you pay for him?
A lot.
How much?
Isn't 80 been bandied about?
80.
Yeah.
You think 80 will get him?
Yeah, I think so.
You want to go home, Shaq.
No, I was just wishing I had 80 million. I trust you, I wouldn't be buying Alisson.
What would you be buying, Shaq?
Wait.
A one-way ticket to Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh.
Well, seven one-way tickets.
Oh, that was a little late. Get your family.
Yes, he left the family behind very quickly.
Hope the wife's watching.
Would you like to wish her a happy birthday now, Shaq?
Tomorrow's her birthday, isn't it?
Can we redo this? I'd like to, can you ask that question
No,
again?
Raf needs to go home. He's had enough.
It's all going
That is
downhill.
it. ESPN FC back tomorrow. Shaka's off. It's his wife's birthday. Ali's travelling into Columbus. You're going to where?
Chicago.
Wow. I'll be here with Craig.
Should he stay or should he go? Ronaldo off to the Premier League, yes or no?
I don't believe that he's going anywhere. I think this is another empty threat. Ronaldo, until I see him leaving, I'm going to say this is a miss.
If you're Jorginho, do you swap Napoli for Manchester City?
I think you do, and if you're Manchester City, Jorginho gives you flexibility, gives you another option to Fernandinho. Jorginho, gone.
This time last year, I was going to say I'll say I thought Lindelof would be a good signing for Manchester United.
I'm glad you clarified.
I did. Would Alderweireld be a better signing?
He would be a better signing than Lindelof. Hang on to that Lindelof one. That really worked out.
Hey, still got time.
Yeah.
Patience. Kovacic, Manchester City, busy.
If Jorginho is going to Manchester City, that I think limits the space for Kovacic. He's going to hang out with Cristiano Ronaldo at Real Madrid.
The Morata experiment hasn't really worked. Higuain, would that be better for Chelsea?
It really depends on who comes in as a coach. If Chelsea can convince Allegri to come to Chelsea, maybe he brings Higuain with him. Until then, I don't think so.
Okay, 3 misses, 2 hits so far in the transfer rate. We end with Shaqiri. Now, Liverpool fans on message boards are saying, great player, great skill, but Jurgen Klopp's whole ethos is about working hard and running. Shaqiri's, is he that type of player?
Well, you just essentially made the case, right? How could I possibly say this is a hit? No, Shaqiri's not going to Liverpool.
He's probably going, but not to Anfield. That's today's transfer rater with Alejandro Moreno. Cristiano Ronaldo's future. Look, it's up in the air right now. Ali Moreno, firstly, do you expect him to be a Real Madrid player at the start of next season?
At this point, to be honest with you, I just want Cristiano Ronaldo to come out and say what he's going to do, because these threats are becoming a nuisance. They're becoming all too repetitive. They're happening right around the same time every year, and it's hard to take threats seriously if you don't actually follow through with them. So if you're unhappy, if you don't want to be around Florentino Perez anymore, if you don't want to be in Real Madrid for whatever the reasons are, then make the decision and go. These threats, at this point, they're losing value because it's been a handful of times that it has happened, and we seem to be regurgitating the same conversation over and over again.
If he stays, this is what Real Madrid will continue to get. If he goes, this is where a new team will benefit and what he has done. But let's put a couple of caveats in here. He's got a €1 billion buyout clause, and he's 33 years old. So if you buy him, you're going to get shirt sales, but you're not going to get anything as far as a sell-on clause is concerned. Is this all down to the comments he made after the Champions League final, and do you think those comments were designed to do what they've done?
they have created a conversation that wasn't going to take place unless he said something. The conversation would have been about the fact that the team just won the Champions League, which really that's what it should have been all about, following yet another Champions League triumph. The timing was incorrect by Cristiano Ronaldo. I think it's something that maybe looking back he may regret, or maybe not. Maybe it's something that, look, the attention should be on me. And all of those people that think of Cristiano Ronaldo as a player who only thinks about him, all those people that hate Cristiano Ronaldo or like to hate Cristiano Ronaldo, this is blood in the water. And this is the sort of material that you use in order to continue to dislike Cristiano Ronaldo. What's undeniable is his ability, his productivity, his success. None of those things anybody's questioning. What I would question is that at some point, if you're going to make a decision, go ahead and make it. Put it out there. Say what you're going to say, but stop all of this. My friend said this. This is not about the money. It's not about unkept promises. It's not okay. So what is it about? How is it going to get resolved? And is it going to get resolved at Real Madrid?
Final question for you, and again, there isn't a right or a wrong answer right now because we don't know. Given the shape and the fitness that he has, which is phenomenal, how many years do you think he's got left at the top level?
It's tough to say because there's been times over the last couple of seasons that you would say, you know, maybe he's slowing down and maybe he's not the same player that he was. What he has done very well is recognize that there are things that he's not able to do now that he was able to do 5 years ago, 3 years ago. And in recognizing that there's a difference as him as a player, he now puts himself in a situation where he highlights his scoring ability, his finishing ability. Rather than running at people on the sidelines, rather than beating people with pace, now I'm going to beat you by my movement inside the 18-yard box and getting on the end of things. He can continue to do that. He's gonna keep scoring goals. But in order to do that, he needs service. So it's got to be in a team that can provide that. Doesn't get much better than Real Madrid in order to provide that.
Exactly. Now, the reason I asked that is simply if you're leaving the club, if you're Ronaldo, a club buying that player, maybe offering a 3-year deal, they're not going to get the Ronaldo of now in 3 years' time. So that's something else that they've got to take into the equation. Ronaldo staying or going. Do you know what? If he kept his mouth shut, we wouldn't even had this conversation.